students, welcome to the 10th standard social science class. Today we are going to read a chapter from democratic politics. But before starting the chapter, I want you to get ready with a pen and a book as usual to note down the important points as we are going forward and learning a lot from this lesson called as Outcomes of Democracy. So let us see what is in store for us. But before starting this chapter, I want to just say that let us see whatever we have learned. We learned about the advantages and disadvantages of democracy. Okay, we learned about the advantages and disadvantages of democracy, and now it is time to move beyond our discussion of the specific themes. And now we are going to ask a general set of questions like what does democracy do, or what outcomes can we actually expect from a democracy? Also, does democracy fulfill these expectations in real life? We begin by thinking about how to assess the outcomes of democracy. After some clarity on how to think on this subject, we proceed to look at the expected and actual outcomes of democracy in various respects like quality of the government, economic well-being, inequality, social differences, and conflict, and finally, last but not the least, freedom and dignity. Our final verdict, positive but qualified, leads us to think about challenges to democracy later. Now, to proceed further, let us see what is there in store for us. So, why is democracy a better form of government? Why is democracy a better form of government? We are going to answer this now. So, democracy promotes equality among people. That's the first point why democracy is a better form of government. Democracy enhances the dignity of an individual. Clear? Democracy enhances the dignity of an individual in the society. Third one, it improves the quality of decision making. That means the democracy actually improves the quality of decision making. Democracy provides a method to resolve conflicts. If there are any conflicts among people or among the society, democracy gives a method to resolve the conflicts. It allows room to correct mistakes. If a leader or a politician has committed a mistake, democratic system would always allow him to correct his mistakes. So it is a legitimate form of government. You can trust the government. It is slow, but still it is efficient, but is less and not very responsive or clean. This may be taken as an advantage or a disadvantage. It is people's own government. It has its own ability to generate its own support. It has a capability to generate its own support. So what are the outcomes of democracy? We are going to discuss here. But before that, let us see some of the outcomes of democracy again. So as we have seen that when we talk to people around us, most of them actually they support democracy against other alternatives such as rule by a monarch or a military or religious leaders. You have seen the case of Hitler. Okay, people were suffering from the hardships of Hitler, but there was economic development. That's what people say. Okay, such as rule by monarch, but not so many of them would be satisfied with democracy in practice. So we sometimes face a dilemma, like democracy is seen to be good in principle, but felt to be not so good in its practice. So this dilemma invites us to think hard about the outcomes of democracy. So do we prefer democracy only for moral reasons, or are there some prudential reasons? So since many centuries, over 100 of countries of the world today claim and practice some kind of democratic politics. They have formal constituencies or constitutions, they hold elections, they have parties, and they guarantee rights to citizens. While these features are common to most of them, these democracies are very much different from each other in many ways. But let us see what are the outcomes of democracy over here in the slide. So democracy is just a form of government. Democracy is a form of government. It can only create conditions for achieving something. It just creates conditions to achieve the goals. Citizens have to take advantage and achieve the goals. It is the duty of the citizens to take the advantage of the schemes or whatever democracy provides and they must achieve their goals. So what are the things that democracy must provide? What are the things that democracy must provide? We are going to see here in this slide. Okay. People have the right to choose their rulers and people have control over rulers. People can choose the leaders and they can control the leaders because actually people elect their representatives. In a democratic form of government, we cast our vote and we select and elect our representatives. So we are the people. We as the people have the control over the rulers. And people's participation in decision making. People play a very active role in each and every part of the decision making in a democratic form of government. So government should be accountable to citizens. Whatever the government does, it should clearly specify why it is doing such and such thing, and it is always accountable for a failure of anything in the government machinery. Government should be responsive to the needs and expectations of the citizens. It should be very responsive actually, because if it is not responsive, people will try to bring down the government back in the coming elections. Democracy is based on the idea of deliberation and negotiations. Deliberation and negotiation mean nothing but if there is any problem, they sit down for times, they can conduct different number of meetings and then come to the best solution or a conclusion. Cost of time that democracy pays it worth it. I want to say, even though it takes a lot of time, okay, what we call the result is the best one in a democratic kind of setup. Now, democracy actually ensures that decision making will be based on norms and procedures. So, for example, a citizen who wants to know if a decision was taken through correct procedures can find this how. She or he has the right and the means to examine the process of decision making. This is known as transparency. So, we should expect, okay, we can expect or the democracy must provide even transparency. Clear? Now, we can also expect that the democratic government develops mechanisms for citizens to hold government accountable and mechanisms for citizens to take part in decision making wherever they think fit. So, these are some of the things that a democracy must provide to all the citizens of a particular country. And democratic governments do not have a very good record when it comes to sharing information with citizens. All one can say in favor of democratic regime is that they are much better than any non-democratic form of government. So, in other terms, it may be reasonable to expect from democracy a government that is attentive to the needs and demands of the people and is largely free of corruption. So, this is the very important point. The democratic government should be free of corruption. So, democracies often generally frustrate the needs of people and often ignore the demands of a majority of its population. The routine tales, there are many stories of corruption are enough to convince us that democracy is not free of this evil called as corruption. So, at the same time, there is nothing to show that non-democracies are less corrupt or more sensitive to people. So, there is one respect in which democratic governments is certainly better than its alternate democratic government is legitimate because it is a legitimate form of government. I mean to say that democratic government is a better form of government compared to any other form of government. It may be slow, it may be less efficient, not always very responsive or clean, but a democratic government is people's own government. That's what we have seen in the previous slide. Okay. Now let us go to the next slide, children. So we have some more points here. Government has to follow procedures and its decisions must be both acceptable and effective. Democracy develops mechanisms for citizens to hold the government accountable and takes decision making. Democracy ensures that decision making is based on some rules and procedures. Democracy provides transparency. As I told you, it should provide transparency. So, what is the measurement of democracy as per their outcome? Regular, free and fair elections must be conducted. Regular, free and fair elections must be conducted always. Open public debate on major policies and legislations. Open public debate on major policies and legislations. Citizens' right to information about government and its functioning. Citizens must have all the right to know how the government is functioning. So these are some of the measurements of democracy as their outcomes. I mean to say, what are the measurements? of democracy as per their outcome. So we have tainted records. What are the negative things of democracy we are seeing here? Sometimes they fall short of elections that provide a fair chance to everyone and in subjecting every decision to public debate. So generally they don't put everything before the public before taking any kind of decision. Clear? And the sharing of information with citizens is also not proper. Sometimes they share information, many a times they do not share the information. In a democratic kind of setup, many people are frustrated. Many people are frustrated, they are not happy. Okay, so there is perhaps more than development. It is reasonable to expect democracy to reduce economic disparities. But because of democracy, many economic disparities actually occur in the country. Okay, now we have seen corruption. Corruption is a main problem in a democratic kind of setup where people actually spend out lot of money in bribing the politicians or the people who work for the government. So in a democratic setup, there should be accommodation for social diversity also. So next point is what we can expect from the government. So what can we expect from the government we are going to see here. So we can expect the government to be attentive to the needs of the people and their demands. At the same time, the government has to be free of corruption. As I told you, you can see in the picture, people are giving money, okay, to get their things done. So we cannot expect this from the government. We cannot expect this from the government. Government should be free of corruption. Economic growth and development. See, children, is a debatable issue even today. Whenever there was economic growth, people actually accepted that dictators have a higher rate of economic growth compared to any kind of government. Okay, dictators have a better kind of economic growth compared to any kind of government. Let us see how is it possible. Okay, during the time when Hitler used to rule Germany, people used to suffer from many things, but there was total economic development. That's what it was proven during the time when Hitler used to rule Germany. So economic development. So what are the factors on which the economic development of a country is dependent upon? It is the country's population size. It is not only the size of the population but also the quality of the population. If the working population is less, then the country's economic development may be less. If there are many old people, then also the country's development will be low. Global situation. Okay, global situation nothing but the situation in different parts of the world makes a lot of difference for the economic development of a country. Cooperation from other countries, better trade relations. Okay, there should be no war with many countries. Removal of trade barriers. Okay, all these make a lot of difference, and other countries also should cooperate for the development of a particular country. Economic priorities adopted by the country. What are the top priorities of the country make a difference? For example, India wanted to develop in the agriculture sector when it gained independence. So the first economic priority of the country was to develop agriculturally. Now tertiary sector is developing a lot, and secondary also is given importance. Compared to even the agriculture sector is given priority, other sectors are also trying to improve because of the initiatives taken by the government of a country. Democracy does not appear to be successful in reducing economic inequalities. See the picture there. Okay, in the bottom you can see a picture. A woman is standing, a rich man is walking on the road. See the difference between the kind of dress they wear. Okay, how the person walks on the road. Okay, so a small number of ultra rich enjoy a highly disproportionate share of wealth and income. Their share in total income is increasing. People at the bottom of the society have very little to depend upon. So here it clearly shows that in a democracy, in a democracy, we actually expect the money to be distributed equally among the poor and the rich. But in practice, what happens is that the rich become richer and the poor become poorer in a democratic setup. So this should not happen. If this happens, then it will lead to the fall of the government in the next elections. So the government setup should be careful that the money is distributed equally among the rich and poor so that they can come back to power in the next elections also. Outcomes again. Political equality. All individuals have equal weight in electing representatives. And accommodation of social diversity. Accommodation of social diversity. So, what is the accommodation of social diversity? We'll see here. But first let us see what is political equality. Here, political equality means each and every vote should carry only one value. As you have seen, each and every vote should carry one value. That is political equality. So let us see what is accommodation of social diversity. So do democracies lead to peaceful and harmonious life in citizens? It will be a fair expectation that democracy should produce a harmonious social life. I want to say everyone, all people of the society should be able to live happily without any fights. Okay, Belgium has successfully negotiated between differences among ethnic populations. If you remember the story of Belgium, okay, there we have seen that Belgium has actually negotiated differences among different ethnic populations. Democracies usually develop a procedure to conduct their competition. This reduces the possibility of the tensions among the explosive or violent groups. No society can fully and permanently resolve conflicts among different groups. Okay, but we can certainly learn to respect these differences and we can evolve mechanisms to negotiate the differences. So, people actually have many fights and misunderstandings, but the negotiation is the best solution. Democracy is best suited to produce this outcome. Non-democratic regimes often turn a blind eye to suppress internal social differences. So ability to handle social differences, divisions and conflicts is thus the definite plus of democratic setup. I mean to say that to handle social differences, democracy is the best kind of government. But the example of Sri Lanka, you have seen the beginning of the what we call the subject, okay, reminds us that democracy must fulfill two conditions in order to achieve this outcome. First one, it is necessary to understand that democracy is not simply ruled by majority opinion. If you remember the rule of Sri Lanka, the majority always needs to work with the minority so that governments function to represent the general view. We are going to see this in the next coming slides. Majority and minority opinions are not permanent. That's the first point. I mean to say, majority should work with minority to run the government in a proper and a happy manner, peaceful manner. Second point, it is also necessary that rule by majority does not become a rule by majority community in terms of religion or race or linguistic group. Rule by majority means that in case of every decision or in case of every election, different persons and groups may be having their say. Let us see what is there in the next slide. Majority to work with, as I told you, majority to work with minority. Rule by majority, it means that in case of every election, different persons and groups may come and can form majority. There should be no discrimination. That is the first outcome of democracy. Again, a very important outcome. There should be no discrimination. Let us see what is dignity and freedom of individuals. Let us see what is dignity and freedom of individuals. Passion for respect and freedom are the basis of what we call democracy. So democracy stands much superior to any form of government in promoting dignity and freedom of individual. Remember this, children. So this is the best form of government again because it actually promotes dignity and freedom of every individual. Every individual wants to receive respect from his following beings. I mean to say, whenever you are living in a society, you expect respect from each other. Give respect and take respect. Often conflicts arise among individuals because some feel that they are not treated with due respect. The passion for respect and freedom are the basis of democracy. Note down this, children. The passion for respect and freedom are the basis of democracy. Democracies throughout the world have recognized this, at least in principle. I mean to say, they at least follow the rule. This has been achieved in various degrees in various democracies. For societies which have been built for long on the basis of subordination and domination, it is not a simple matter to recognize that all individuals are equal. Take the case of women. We'll see the case of women. The dignity of women over here. Most societies across the world were historically male-dominated societies. If you remember, long struggles by women have created some sensitivity today that respect to and equal treatment of women are necessary ingredients of democratic society. That does not mean that women are actually treated equally with respect. But once the principle is recognized, it becomes easier for women to wage a struggle against what is now unacceptable legally and morally. I mean to say, dignity of women, gaining some sensitivity during a long struggle. Respect to and equal treatment of women are necessary. So, in a non-democratic setup, this acceptability would not have legal basis because what? The principle of individual freedom and dignity would not have the legal and moral force. So once the women recognize that their dignity is of prior importance, it is easier for women to wage a struggle if any rights are not given to them. So what are the steps to reduce effects of casteism in modern democracy? In India, the democracy has strengthened the claims of the disadvantaged and discriminated castes for equal status and opportunity. So there are many reservations provided in the constitution of our country for jobs and educations to develop the societies to develop the part of the society which are neglected at the beginning when India gained freedom. Constitutional provisions for safeguarding the interests of minorities, weaker sections and backward classes. It is the recognition that makes ordinary citizens value their democratic rights. So what are the outcomes of democracy? Continuation is here. Success of democracy comes with more expectations and complaints from people, which indirectly indicates participation. If people complain more, it generally says that democracy is working, and when people are complaining, a democratic government would always try to correct its mistakes and give the best to the people. People have developed awareness and ability to expect and look critically at power holders. So when there is criticism from the public against the government, it shows that people are very alert. They want the government to do better, and by doing this, they are alert in the government where the government can give their best. Government can give its best to the citizens of a country. So with this we come to the end of the chapter Outcomes of Democracy, children. Hope you are reading at home. Don't forget to complete your homeworks